Hello, Internet! Top of the morning to ya! Bye-bye! Welcome back to D&D Part 2. Today, we are playing the game Perry Botta.
Perry Botter, yes.
Perry Botta. The amazing chocolate here.
Botter.
Botta! I can't believe it. You are Perry Botter, and you
Peregrine, thank you.
just returned to the scene in which there was a suicide. Possibly. Of some make, proportion, influence, manipulation, directive, attorney. I don't know.
I think Umbridge would probably rule it as a suicide from like a legal point. But we all know.
Fake news.
Fake news, exactly.
You.
Umbridge, 2024.
Oh my god.
Or at least the actress who plays her.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be hilarious.
Okay, well, I'm going to move on.
Imagine what the White House would look like.
You are... It'd be turned pink.
Exactly. It would be the pink house.
The pink house. It's like Legally Blonde 2. That whole... Okay, we're getting off track. We are no longer in the hallway. We are no longer on the staircase. We are no longer in that hallway where there's black veils. We are having a scene change in which you are up in the hospital wing. You are sitting on a bench outside of the double doors leading into the hospital wing. Poppy is right next to you, and she is very, very quiet. You have been escorted up there because, effectively, you are part of a very serious case of student suicide. And yes, Haytham was no longer a student per se, but just barely. So it's this weird
It was on
little...
Hogwarts grounds.
Yes. Yeah. One way or another, somebody died on Hogwarts grounds. That is fact.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was actual suicide, whether it was via Imperious Curse, whether he was a student or not, it doesn't really matter. It happened. Done.
Mm-hmm.
McGonagall is inside the hospital wing because, not to forget, Haytham did kill himself, but there was also a younger student, wizard, that was being escorted out before you even knew Haytham was in there. He is also in there. Do you have anything that you want to say or do while you're out here right now? Because, of course, something will happen, but this is your opportunity to say something, do something with Poppy until that something happens.
I appreciate the option. How long after the events is it?
This is, I'm going to say, good question, I'm going to say about 2 hours. It's been quite a while.
I'm going to let... stew is not the right word, but I'm going to leave Poppy alone with her thoughts.
Okay.
Because I think everyone needs to internalize.
Yeah, she has stopped
like
any sort of teary. She has stopped any sort of questioning, and she's really gone internal.
I am actually going to go for because I imagine I've been there in kind of a stunned silence with Poppy for a while.
Yes.
I'm going to tell her that I'm going to go for a very light walk.
Okay.
And if she needs anything, to let me know.
Okay.
Walk it off.
You go on for a walk, and she kind of watches you as you leave, kind of surprised that you're leaving this area.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was not blatantly said, it was sort of assumed that McGonagall would want to say something to both of you before the night was over.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you go? The hospital wing is quite up high in the castle, not the hospital.
Literally, the simplest way I can describe this is aimlessly.
Okay.
It is not only for the sake of allowing Poppy time to be alone if she wants, but also time for me to be alone because this is the first very serious and very violent thing that I've ever witnessed.
No one seems to stop you, and hardly anybody's in the corridors as you're walking around.
Because it was really late, if I'm not mistaken.
By now it would be around dinner time, and yet you have no appetite.
Okay, that makes sense.
You are roaming around, and you're seeing some other students roaming, but they don't really seem to notice you because nobody knows what happened. Mm-hmm. You guys were the only ones there, and the only other witness, the boy, is up in the hospital wing. You see no other faculty. But you find yourself leaning up against a balcony, looking out at the Hogwarts grounds. You're very high up. I'll say you're on the 6th floor. You're very high up, and you can see the dark water of the lake out there. And you realize
I
that...
notably do not get too close to the edge.
Okay. You realize that this goes beyond Hogwarts. This whole deed.
Mm-hmm.
Because this stretches far beyond to the point of somebody died. It falls under... This could stir the pot with people's fear of dark magic returning, despite the fact that he who must not be named is gone, in theory. You are also aware that Dumbledore will be at the heart of this, because one way or another people will start to question, how did you not know that one of your faculty or students is capable of an unforgivable curse? And why did you let a boy die? You realize all of this, and also...
I don't think another student knows that. I think someone infiltrated. That's where my mind is.
You also realize that the person who is directly second from the top of being in charge of this school is your own aunt.
Mm-hmm.
And so you feel kind of a glimmer of fear for your own family, because you're like, how do you handle a situation like that? Hey, sweetie. Stand it vertically up and down. Straight up toward the sky. Because the receiver is actually on the side.
This is not part of the Harry Potter game. This is a side conversation.
I apologize.
Everything from the point where he said straight up and down, ignore. Go on. You hear a voice from the cloud saying, hey, you gotta have to hold it straight up and down, and check the antenna. God!
You see a hippogriff fly out across the sky. And then down in the water, you see the giant squid flick up one of its tentacles and then slash back down, and you see a big wave. And you're like, I love this place. But now you can't see it the same.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's never been a threat. For 3 years, nothing has been a threat. Even when you were younger, first or second year, you were barely really you were not really affected by the Death Eaters and by Voldemort, and so this feels like such a jarring, like, car crash, especially it happening right in front of you. You are approached. You hear soft footprints walk towards you.
Okay.
What do you do?
Soft footsteps approaching from behind because I'm looking out.
From your left.
Okay. I just turn around.
You see Albus Dumbledore strolling towards you.
I immediately go into a very gracious bow. What gives me the honor, basically.
Dumbledore would say, Minerva tells me that you were at the scene when Haytham was found.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe for me what you saw?
Is this going to be a memory check, or can I simply just say,
Sure.
I tell him everything?
Yes, you can say that.
Okay.
Okay.
I tell him everything, event by event, as detailed as I imagine he would want it to be.
Can you tell me of anything that would have happened earlier today to give any sort of clue as to his odd behavior?
I tell him about the incident in the courtyard and how he ignored me.
Okay.
But I didn't think too much of it because I did actually kind of go out of my way to explore why or if he had intentionally dropped the piece of paper that I'm sure he already knows about, blah blah blah. So I just go into detail about the courtyard scenario.
He nods a little bit, and he comes up to you and leans on the balcony with you and looks out to the grounds.
I'm not leaning on the balcony,
okay.
by the way.
He does it anyway and looks out at the grounds. He has never spoken to you directly before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like talking to thunder, how powerful this man is. And he's truly old, however, you could tell that he could live for 100 more years based on how much magical energy is in him.
Mm.
And simultaneously, as kind as he's rumored to be, you can also tell that he would be like fighting a storm if he ever got into a fight. So he is simultaneously one of the kindest figures, but also one of the most frightening. Because you're also like, I better not say the wrong thing. He's silent for a good long time. And he asks you, in your studies of history of magic, have you ever taken particular note to learn about Merlin?
Ooh, I believe... This is not me saying this, but I believe I actually passed on that during our character creation. I don't think I went down the path, so...
You did not.
Yeah, I'm going to tell him... no, sir.
There is a reason why Merlin is not part of our core curriculum in History of Magic. Partially because the teacher who teaches History of Magic has a very strict way of teaching it. And I can hardly make him move. However, Merlin is not recognized as one of the core figures of magical history because his contributions are so controversial. Merlin was not a student here. He predates the castle, but he was invited here by the founding fathers, by the founders of Hogwarts. And he contributed to some of the curriculum, and he contributed secrets. It is believed he created his own wing of the castle in which we cannot find. That it only remains open for about a week unless someone is inside. I have never seen such a place. There are secrets within the castle that will never truly be found ever by anyone. I believe it is like one of those puzzle boxes that Muggles love. You can never really know how each little gear is turning, but you know that it works nonetheless. The Wing of Merlin, I believe, is one of those rumors that truly does exist. The Golem, I don't know. Merlin was a believer that his king, Arthur, would one day return from the dead. He was only ever loyal to that one person. That's what made Merlin so dangerous. He believed that no magic could exist as a solution without it also being a problem. So while he was a powerful wizard, he was also a believer that magic was a problem. And so he tried to stamp out those who are not worthy of it. The Golem could be his attempt to try to bring his king back to life. It could also have been his attempt to maintain his own life until Arthur was resurrected. Or the Golem could not exist at all. I tell you all of this because you were at the heart of all of this death. Whether or not you were approached on purpose, the person who had Haytham Imperiust, regardless if that was intentional, you interacted with him, meaning that you are part of this. I am not going to be the one to tell you to go looking for the wing, but I believe if anyone was to find it, you would have the most significant chance. Last thing. Merlin was one of the first people to put on the sorting hat. He was a Slytherin. And Dumbledore will turn around and walk away.
I'm really diving deep into my thoughts.
Go for it.
I want to say something and not be silent.
And say something.
I'm trying to think of something to say. You know, you give me a lot of really good information.
Time stop.
Time stop. The reason why I removed the ability from the game.
Yeah, when you removed haste from the game, I'm just like, thank God, but also, aw.
Yeah. I don't know.
The broken ability's gone, but I liked it.
I still have second thoughts about removing haste. Because making it a major action was like It was doable. But anyway. I wanted to ask something about. Wait. So he was a Slytherin. He turns and walks away. As he's walking away, I'm going to say. Did Auntie show you the room?
He turns around and says, "The room is gone when we try to return to investigate." That, however, might be the biggest piece of evidence we have that the wing exists.
The picture in front of the wing that disappeared had a snake that was trying to speak to me when I asked her what happened to the lady in the portrait.
He will go stone quiet.
I couldn't understand it, obviously.
Very few have that ability.
What? Could that mean anything?
It could mean a great deal. It could mean a stronger affiliation to Slytherin's house. It is said that the Wing of Merlin acts like a virus on the castle, creating spots where there were none before, creating rooms where none existed, rooms that are half made, half finished, just a concept of a structure.
So not even an actual physical wing, but rather the idea of several secret spaces.
Yes.
Interesting.
They could be marked by the house that Merlin had the strongest affiliation with, regardless of the fact that he never taught or learned here. He could not deny the magical potency of this place. Also, it is strongly believed that he was immortal, without the need of a Philosopher's Stone or everlasting potion. Merlin was thought to be the strongest, the most powerful. But if he is immortal, why have we not seen him for hundreds of years? I share
What
this.
happened to him?
No one really knows. I believe it is abundantly possible that Merlin does walk this earth with us still, but he has chosen the life of a hermit, just awaiting his king to come back. I'm not convinced that all of this has anything to do with him directly, but perhaps someone has found some secret that he buried away here, and they're using what he left behind. Again, Merlin was not an inherently villainous person. He just had very strong opinions about how magic should be used, and who should rightfully rule everything.
Sounds like Slytherin.
It is in the nature of Slytherins to find order in a very specific way designed by their own mind. But what's interesting about Merlin is that he never, not once, ever voiced any desire to rule himself. He wanted to help someone else get to the top.
Or get back to the top again, rather.
Yes.
I'm going to ask about Haytham's parents.
They will be notified. I doubt that the effects of the Dementors will be able to nullify their grief for long. And he looks troubled. I will have to share the information almost immediately. He had no one else. I was hoping to change that for him.
Alright. Who was the other one?
Charlie Weasley. His second year, Gryffindor. Very odd that such a young one would be targeted. Also very young that he found himself in such a predicament because he's often not even talking to people. Though, that does... And he'll actually, like, return to, like, approaching you, and he'll, like, put a finger up. He's like, though, that does tickle on an idea that I had. The room disappeared when I returned to investigate, but Minerva told me that there was a bowl of human blood within.
Yes, I told you earlier when I was recanting.
Yes.
I was filled with a preserver.
The blood. There is something called blood magic that I do not allow to be taught here. It is incredibly ancient, beyond ancient, and incredibly powerful and chaotic. If the golem, if it exists, if it is believed to exist, it is very possible that such a thing would be activated by wizarding blood. If such a thing was necessary, it would make sense to go for many Slytherins or someone like Charlie Weasley because his family is pureblood. And many Slytherins find themselves to be pureblood.
How's Charlie?
He's recovering just fine.
Good.
His mother may be upset with me, but that's my burden.
Thank you, Headmaster.
He'll keep his eyes on you for a few seconds longer, and then he'll turn his back, and he'll make his way back down the hallway.
I look back over the lake and see if I can spot the hippogriff.
You cannot.
I will take that as a sign to return to Poppy.
You do not run across Dumbledore again on your way up to the hospital wing. And when you arrive, Poppy will say, "You just missed the headmaster. He was looking for you."
I didn't miss him at all, dear.
What?
What?
Okay, well, your aunt is in...
Listen, I had a bonkers conversation with the headmaster just now. First time I ever spoke to him. And I tell her everything. Like, as clearly as possible.
She listens raptly to the information shared, especially...
I'm going to emphasize the blood magic bit and be like...
the academia behind Merlin. She's, like, actually fascinated. And then talking about blood magic, she's like, I've never even heard of that.
Right.
How would that even work?
I mean...
The way
the blood is inherently magical.
But it's
no
almost
idea.
like he's describing it like a fuel.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we look for the wing?
I don't think now is really the right time.
Okay.
I want to catch up with my auntie.
Oh yeah, she's inside consoling a crying woman.
I'm going to go ahead and go into the wing.
She says like, oh, she's just like, bye.
Yeah. And I'm literally going to turn around and be like, I thought you were going to come with me.
Oh, I'm not family. I'll come anyway.
I think it's okay.
I'll come anyway. You enter the hospital wing, and it's beautiful, with all the screaming children, bleeding all over the place. And you're like, Jesus Christ. Who's that? I'm a wizard.
Yeah.
I imagine that Jesus was probably a wizard. In, like, actually Harry
Tommy.
Potter lore. Sorry, immersion. You walk in, and there is not a crying woman, because she's recovered a bit, because Minerva is consoling a younger Molly Weasley.
Mm-hmm.
Arthur is not there. And Charlie Weasley is actually awake, and he's just like, Mom. Like, I'm fine. And she's like, Charlie, but you're so brave. And you're so reckless. Why were you reckless? And he's like, I was trying to help somebody who was like, hey, Nugget.
I'm gonna say, a true Gryffindor, fine Gryffindor, really.
See, I have a fan. Yeah. And his mom will look at you and she's like, Botter. I like the name Botter. Anyway.
I bet you do.
Minerva will turn towards you and she's like, this is a family situation that is outside of our family. What do you want?
I wanted to check on Charlie. I had just spoken with the headmaster. He said he was recovering.
Charlie will have heard this and he's like, I feel drugged. Skelegro hurts like a bitch. And then Molly will say, Charlie! Charlie's like, I'm feeling great. And really hurting. But also great. Do you have any sort of sugary sweet? Because I really could use like anything sugary to cut the edge off of this medication that is barely working, but it's also working great. Minerva's like, I think Poppy may have given her yeah, may have given him too much Skelegro. This may happen sometimes. He will be fine. He doesn't remember much. And we're allowing him to heal a bit more before we ask questions.
Of course.
And Molly will get defensive and say, like, my son will know nothing about what's going on here. He'll have nothing to do with the boy hurting himself. Oh.
I'm going to a bit... kind of going along with what a 16-year-old would do. I'm going to ask Minerva... That sounds weird. This is just clearly Jeff speaking right now, obviously, but I'm going to say, when she says that, about the boy killing himself or hurting himself, I'm going to actually, like, instantly react and, like, look at Professor McGonagall and be like, does she know Auntie?
Molly arrived as soon as we let her know of Charlie's condition. She saw Haytham be carried in. Then she gestures towards, there's some screens in the corner of the hospital wing. You suspect that Haytham's body is back there.
Of course.
Molly is she is trusted in our community. You don't need to worry about anything coming from her sharing this information prematurely. What is driving you, Jeff? What do you want to know?
I want to roll, or not. I don't know if I have to roll or not, but I want to see if that was a clear cover-up by McGonagall or not. Because I was referencing if Molly knew about the Imperious Curse being cast.
Oh.
Like, does she know? Because she mentioned, like, the lad, like, hurting himself.
Oh, I see. Go ahead and roll a cunning check.
So I want to see if that was, like, her way of diverting, like, the expert politicianal move that would have been, or if that was just, like, taken out of context. 15 plus my 5 cunning for 20.
You know that was a tactful way for McGonagall to divert you from saying Imperious Curse.
That's what I thought. Legitimately thought that. Okay. I am going to take notes of that. I'm going to give her, like, a very respectful, like, of course, Professor. And I am going to leave the room and smile at Charlie because I'm growing kind of fond of that guy. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. Good guy. And then I'm going to not necessarily go out of my way to peek at Haytham's corner, but, like, I'm going to notice it as I'm walking by. Just to, like, you know, see that there's a body there or whatever. Or if it's all completely veiled.
It's all completely veiled. However, there is a crack for people to walk through.
Right, I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
I want to, but I'm not.
Uh-huh.
That's disrespectful.
Of course.
In my opinion.
It's inconceivable.
Alright. I leave, and I make sure that Poppy follows, and I'm going to insist that we wait until morning, and that we should get a good night of sleep. I'm tempted to go down a dungeon, though.
You sleep surprisingly well, considering that everything that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
In the morning, you find that you have barely moved during the night. In other words, the blankets are like barely kerfuffled, shall we say.
Mm-hmm.
And in the morning, the news is broken that somebody died last night.
Right.
You are not involved, you are not mentioned, Poppy is not mentioned, not even McGonagall is mentioned.
It's just vague.
Yes. Well, they are detailed as far as who it was and assured that an investigation is ongoing, that all students are to receive the option to go on winter break early if they want to, as a result. Very few people take that offer, but some do. One sec.
I'm curious of the ones from Gryffindor House taking the opportunity to leave early.
First years and second years mostly. Everyone else is more like we need to defend the castle kind of stance of just like, this feels wrong, I don't like this, but I'm staying here because their stupid heroic hearts are making them stay.
Yeah.
But the younger students are just like, but I'm scared.
Any third year pluses with that sentiment of I need to stay, are any of them not in the dueling club?
Say that one more time?
Any of the ones with the sentiment of I need to stay because of their stupid heroic youngness or whatever, are any of them not in the dueling club?
Most of the dueling... Actually, I will say pretty much the entire dueling club is staying at the castle.
Good.
Yeah.
What about the ones that aren't in the dueling club? Are they deciding to stay?
Most of the...
Because I'm going to try and convert some people to go into the dueling club.
Most of the student body is staying at Hogwarts.
Okay.
The first 2 years worth of students, I will say about half of the first and second years are wanting to go home.
Oh, okay. Because if there's any Gryffindors who feel the need to stay because of some heroic action and they're not in the dueling club, I'm going to see to it that they join the dueling club.
You may begin...
Because that is specifically a trait that you cannot teach.
Well, you're feeling even more inspired to do this, I'm pretty sure, because your first class of the day is Defense Against the Dark Arts.
Oh, of course.
And
of course
it happens like immediately after breakfast. Do you have breakfast?
Yes, I didn't eat dinner. Of course I have breakfast.
Awesome. You load up on cheesy eggs and bacon and you're just like,
Fantastic.
damn, I'm gonna have gas.
Broccoli too, beans, all that.
Tortillas?
Yeah. Coffee.
Poppy and you barely speak. But you see Theodore off yonder and he waves to you.
I wave back.
And he's like, oh my god, not really. He makes his way out and you make your way down the hallway. Poppy joins you in Defense Against the Dark Arts, by the way. It's her elective.
Oh.
And
that's hot.
You guys enter the classroom.
As we enter, I'm literally going to look at her and be like, this is a bit weird, isn't it?
Everything about this is very weird, yeah.
So I'm not the only one?
No. It feels wrong to be sitting here when there's somebody in this castle that could legitimately control anyone. And it's hard to really know who to point the finger at. because it'd be easy to point the finger at any Slytherin. But I think that's just bias. But then it was a Slytherin who died. But a Gryffindor got attacked.
It's unwise to point fingers so early.
Yeah, I know.
Don't let fear get the best of you.
This is definitely fear talking.
I hold her hand.
Oh, and she'll take it. She won't even, like, do the whole, like, song and dance of, like, this is awkward. She'll just be like...
Thank you.
Thanks. You realize that I just took this class to spend more time with you, right? I don't need this to get into healing.
Let's say you're in the middle of healing someone, and a dark figure approaches, and they aim to harm you and the person that you're healing. I don't know where I was going with it.
I was gonna say, I'm like, is that it?
Yeah. Would you...
She stops you and
Hold
says,
on,
you
hold
make a great case.
Would you prioritize healing and stay on that path hoping that someone else would come in and defend? Or maybe the figure would stray? Or would you stop healing and defend yourself? That's where I was actually going with that. I couldn't find the right words.
I know that DADA has a significant place in magical usage. My point being was that for the sake of my career, this is not strictly necessary. I was trying to be romantic, you idiot.
Can I go back to my seat? Which is probably right next to her.
She watches you walk to your seat. You're just like, oh man. You sit down. She sits right next to you. Oh crap.
Yeah.
The class starts, and the professor is a darker-skinned man who has kind of like a Parkinson's twitch. This is resulted from him having been in some duels during the dark days of Voldemort. And he who
must not be named.
The claim is that he took a pretty bad curse to the back of the head, which caused some nerve damage. So he now has spasms as he talks and sits and stands and pees and everything. It's pretty sad, but he's also very knowledgeable. And he is asking you guys, well...
Which professor is this? I'm curious.
This is not the same person that has been in any of the books. I just made him up because all Defense Against the Dark Arts professors leave after 1 year.
Right, okay, cool.
Okay. This is Professor Treebottom. Why not? Sure. And he says, after the news today, I imagine that some of you would want to know how to handle such a situation in the real world. If you saw somebody who is truly hurt, and how to help them. I unfortunately do not teach healing, like Miss Poppy over there, but I...
You teach healing?
He's talking, okay? But he goes on to say, I can teach you how to defend your fellow man and women. Poppy.
She's like the old woman in here.
Pretty much. And
I just imagine like a room full of like just teenagers just ogling Poppy, and she's just sitting there.
I took this class to be with you. He says,
God.
We are going to learn how to use a shield spell today. The magical ward that can try to defend you and someone next to you or someone specific away from you. How does that sound? Unless you guys would like to continue discussion about offensive jinxes. We'll have a vote today.
But the shield sounds great. I just blurred out.
We have 1 vote for shield. Thank you so much. And like everyone votes for shield. after your raised hand, you're like shield. Everyone's like, yeah, yeah. He's like, wonderful. Everyone rise, and he picks up his very long wand, and he says, "Oh, I missed my wand." And he says,
"Go get your wand."
Okay.
Yeah, you have to. Sorry. Intermission.
Only halfway through. I'm back.
Cool. Perfect timing. Right on cue.
It's like we planned that.
Yeah.
All
We didn't
right.
plan it.
We didn't.
We did not. Look at that stick.
How dare you? This is a wand.
How dare you? This is a branch.
He
He.
will attempt to teach ye all in this one class, but will probably continue on to others. Let me get up the word. Hold on. You have the choice to learn, to try to learn Cave Nivicum or Salvo Hexia.
Why do you do this to me? What am I doing? Okay, Salvo Hexia is directly linked to Protego, which if I learned the Hexia, I can get Protego next level. Yeah, Salvo Hexia.
Salvo Hexia. He teaches you the words.
Also, I can actually say the damn word. Cave Inimicum. Inimicum. Inimicum.
You're not a dish.
No, you're not a dish.
You're not
also
a dish.
YouTube video. Alright. Raise your wand. I'm going to enchant these dishes to fly at you. And you must block them with the words Salvo Hexia. Salvo Hexia. The movement
This motion?
is in a counterclockwise circle and
Okay.
point.
Salvo Hexia.
Salvo Hexia. Roll 2 d20s, please.
10. Is that the dex one?
Yes.
10 plus 5 is 15.
Wonderful.
And then another 10 plus 5 is 15.
Lovely. He throws a collection of 3 different dishes at you from different locations, and you're just like, Salvo Hexia, Salvo Hexia, Salvo Hexia, and you cause them all to rebound off of your invisible ward spell, causing I'll say porcelain to just be all over the ground around you. You're just like, that was easy. I could have done that in my sleep. And Poppy's like, show off. You have learned Salvo Hexia.
I'm going to ask
Oh my god.
Professor Treebottom, throw something a bit more risque at me. I want to try something.
He looks at his desk. No. He looks over at the suit of armor over there, and he casts Wingardium Leviosa at the helmet, and he's like, it's heavier.
Alright, here we go. I'm doing non-verbal. 17 plus 5
Beautiful.
on my dex.
Beautiful.
And a 14, which is a crit for me.
You
Salvo
cause
Hexia.
the metal to explode into several different ribbons of pieces that like shatter on impact around you and then radiate out and around you. So they just kind of explode past you, if that makes sense. And they fall to the ground in a smooth clatter, and the feather that was in the cap floats up,
I'm going to catch it.
and you are able to catch it with that crit effect.
Oh, with the crit effect. Okay.
You were able to grab it and go like, what a feather in my cap. And Poppy's like, you are unbearable, but you're so funny. Okay.
Reparo on the helmet.
You do not know Reparo.
I thought it was one of the first.
It is
Oh, you inherently know if you wear glasses. Can I wear glasses?
not. No.
Kidding.
He will cast Reparo, and he's like, well done. I think you may have learned that within 5 minutes. And he puts it back onto the suit of armor, and he's like, Go around and teach some others for me. My hand is aching.
I do so.
The class goes by pretty dang easily because you're feeling so inspired right now to do something. And so you were able to assist your fellow 6 years in learning this spell, including a couple Slytherins that are in there that actually accept your assistance. Salvo, Hexia.
I want to do something in this scene, so do not pass me. I forgot to bring up my spells list earlier, so that's why I'm taking a moment. Oh, I don't know where everything is. What's School of Magic? Defense against Dark Arts?
It is in healing and defense.
Healing and defense. There it is. Oh man, Kaveh and Nimicum would have opened up the gate to learn Fumos. Oh.
There's the choice of
Yeah.
Battle Shield or Stealth Shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a little bit, but protect. I need protect. Just shut up. Just shut up, Jeff. I can't do this song and dance forever.
So in that one
Right,
class,
so basically, caster creates a bubble around themselves, just themselves. Yes.
on target. All right, it says around themselves. So
Is it target sustained or is it self-sustained?
I'm gonna make it target sustained. I'm
Awesome.
gonna change that wording right now.
Okay. Salvo Hexia, target sustained. Caster creates a bubble around target that can deflect specifically jinxes and hexes.
So not charms and curses.
Yes. But also physical items, like the stuff being thrown at me.
Correct.
Okay, so physical stuff, jinxes, hexes, vanishes after being hit with a successful jinx or hex, which is why I was able to sustain the ability, because the stuff was just being thrown at me, essentially. 50% chance of knocking the jinx or hex back to the original. It's so good. And it's sustained. I love it. I love everything about it. Sneak, and then Salvo.
I'm gonna increase the MP cost to 6.
Oh, okay. Salvo Hexia. Target. Sustained. I'm just going to put bubble effect. 50% chance to redirect jinxes and hexes. Causing dissipation. Six MP. Got it. Man, that's shorthand, and it still took 2 lines. That's how you know it's a good ability, because it can do a lot.
Yeah.
Alright. I'm very happy with that. So the things that I want to do, specifically with the Slytherins, I know that Hatham, even though he was an oddball, I know that Slytherins did like him.
They defended him at the very least, yeah.
I am going to, not openly for like the whole room to hear, but like I'm not going to try and hide my words when I tell them that I'm like horrifically sorry to hear about Hatham.
They like accept it, but like don't show a lot of like emotional connection through the correspondence. They're like, yeah.
And I'm going to attempt to possibly make a connection. That's really not a good idea, but a 16-year-old would probably want to do it.
A 16-year-old who's already had a bias against them.
No. I want to... I feel like they should know that... I feel like they should know about the Imperious Curse. So that's where I'm struggling right now. But I don't want to reveal that and have, like, panic. but I also don't want to reveal too much about the fact that I was there. So I'm gonna. I want to word it in such a way that it's like, I believe this happened based on the way he was acting that day, basically. Do I sense that either one of them, because you said there were two, right? Do I sense that either one of them feels more strongly than the other, or do both of them are kind of indifferent?
Kind of indifferent, both of them.
Both of them? Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm not going to tell them.
Okay.
If it was like obviously like a really close friend, I would have 100% told him.
Yeah, you've never really talked to these guys before, and you don't really know their friendships, and so you'd be really shooting in the dark on whether or not this would be a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
When class ends, you know that the habit is for you to walk Poppy to potions downstairs. You have a free period.
Well, I'm going to walk Poppy to potions.
You walk her down to the dungeons, and your heart starts to thrum because you are back in the place where you were yesterday, and you're just like, secrets.
Yes. I want to see if that door is still there.
She walks you directly to the potion's front door, and she's like, you really don't need to, like, walk me here every single Tuesday.
Oh, no, I do. It's my way of spending more time with you.
I'm glad you do. Go... I was about to say go study hard, but we both know you're not going to do that. Happy hunting. She turns around, then looks back at you, and then looks back, goes into the potions classroom. All you have to do is turn right, walk about 5 meters, and then look slightly down the hallway to your left. What you see is the doorway again, and once again it's kind of not straddled, but like a few feet down the hallway there's another Slytherin that's kind of like looking at a paper and then like referencing a book and then looking at the paper, basically that there's another person in the hallway just like Sylvester was yesterday.
Mm-hmm. But is he blocking the door like Sylvester was?
No. He's nearby it.
I'm going to go to the door and I'm going to open it.
When your hand touches the door, the guy speaks up and is like, can I help you?
Do I recognize him?
Nope.
I want to say, my apologies. I had heard a strange sound on the other side of this door, and I wanted to make sure that everything was okay.
That's Snape's storeroom, so there's a lot of living stuff moving around in there in jars.
That would explain the noise. Terribly sorry. What you reading?
Give me a cunning check, please.
14 plus 5.
You have a pretty confident idea this isn't true.
Do I know where Snape's storeroom is?
From your memory, Snape has a fully stocked storeroom in his classroom.
After I say, I'm terribly sorry, that explains it, I'm going to say, but doesn't Snape have a storeroom in his class? Last time I was in potions, I could have sworn I'd seen it.
This is his backup.
A backup storeroom.
Yeah, Snape is a very busy man with a very large talent.
Are you feeling okay, mate?
I'm... F off, dude. Cunning check.
12 plus 5.
You notice that there is budding sweat on top of his head. He has a shaved head, by the way.
Is there anyone nearby? Well, of course there is. This beginning of class.
In this direct hallway, no. It's just you and him.
Revelio?
The Revelio does not pick up it, or you know from before, it did not pick up the Imperious Curse when you were using it on Hatham.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're sensing for that now...
Nope, I'm not looking for
Oh, you're
Imperious
not?
Curse.
Okay.
I did target him though.
Yes. Go
Because
ahead
I'm
and give
gonna
me,
probably open up the door anyway, so.
give me the 2 d20s.
5 plus 5 and 7 plus 5.
It was a low dex roll, but he is caught by surprise. The only thing that you reveal is that the book is a very thick leather, and it is runic on the title, so you can't even understand it. But you catch a word inside
Because of my rune ability, eh?
that says Merlin. He will see you cast a spell, hear Revelio, but not really care because you aimed your wand at him, and he will shut the book, pull his wand on you, and cast Flipendo.
Am I able to... I don't have the instance, no.
He fizzles. Oh, but that still... Hold on. So Flipendo, so if the willpower loses, so that means that he did cast Flipendo, but he misfired and it hit the wall behind you. So you see, so you can feel the brick behind you break.
I am going to scream for Snape. And I'm going to cast Salvo Hexia. Scream for Snape first. I would instinctively call for Poppy as well, so... Snape! Poppy! Like, as loud as I can so that the potions room can hear. And Salvo Hexia. 16 plus 5. And a 12 plus 5.
You do not know if you are hurt. Woo! He tries to cast Flipendo again, and the will is there, but he once again misses you, and it goes between your legs. You're just like, oh god!
This is the kind of time where I would really love Expelliarmus.
Yeah. It is your move.
I am not attacking him, just to be very clear.
Then what are you doing?
I'm going to... open the door. While he's fumbling around with the wand, I'm just gonna blatantly just open the door.
Okay. You open the door, and I will say that you even put the door between you and him.
Mm-hmm. That's convenient.
And the moment that you look in, it is solid darkness. It may as well be a black wall that you opened in on.
Mm-hmm.
The battle is over because you are pulled into the room.
Glad I called for help.
The door slams shut behind you. And you are in solid black darkness for a good several seconds where you're just
Lumos.
Where the heck am I? You cast Lumos, and even the darkness seems to want to swallow Lumos. What I'm trying to say is that the domain that you're in has very few reflective surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
So that it seems like even though you're casting Lumos, it's still not penetrating much.
Yeah.
And then you see that Lumos is reflecting off of something that is growing ever brighter. And that something is actually 6 spots. 2, 2, 2. And they are all green, glittering veils. Not material, not tangible like fabric, but they're glittering green energy that's waving dimly.
Okay.
And Lumos seems to get more powerful, or it's the room is becoming more of a room.
Mm-hmm.
As you are now seeing that these veils are actually hiding archways. And there are 6 of them.
Okay.
If you were to look behind you, there is no door.
I audibly say out loud, Terrific. Would you like me to account for the MPF spent, or
Yes.
is there like time passage?
Well, actually, you can keep your MP.
Okay. Nice guy, DM. Aside from the 6 glittering archways, is there anything else of note? What am I standing on?
Stone that seems to be a bit wet.
I'm going to follow the wetness.
It seems
with
to be.
Lumos.
It seems to be everywhere.
Okay. I will follow it to the other side of the room to make sure that everything is wet, basically.
You do so.
When I'm standing on the other side of the room, did I notice anything as I was walking past the archways or anything new on the far side of the room?
There is really nothing remarkable except the uniformity of each archway and the glitteriness of these non-existent veils.
Oh, I do have to expend MP for Salvo Hexia because I'm keeping it active.
Oh, that's fair.
I just realized. I'm going to cast Revelio targeted in the middle of the room. 6 plus 5 and a 6 plus 5.
Wonderful. Because once you do so, 5 of the archways vanish and condense onto the one that was straight right for you.
Okay.
So,
When I originally walked in the room, straight right?
Yes.
Okay. And I imagine 6 of them, there's 3 on each side of me
Yes.
in a corridor fashion?
No, it was more like a half circle
Got it.
shaped room.
Got it. And so it's the one
So
immediately
straight
on the right.
forward to the right.
Oh, straight forward to the right. Got it. So so if it was labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it would be the 4th door.
Yes.
Got it. We're able to communicate really well.
Yes.
That's great. Okay.
So it's like
So literally, since I'm standing on the opposite end of this like little semicircle, and I do Revelio, literally like everything just darkens around me except for this one corridor immediately on my left, essentially.
yes, except it's not like they just vanish. It's like the wall literally shifts, so they all like combine into that one.
Right? That's right. That's right. You said that.
The veil now is tangible, so all the glitter seemed to combine into an actual like
Out of
tapestry.
just pure fascination, I'm going to instinctively touch it.
Absolutely. So if you
It's
touch
like,
it,
ooh.
it's made of like a thick, rough, and yet luxurious type of material
Mhm.
that's like a thin carpet that's actually reminding you very much of when your class got to experience a magic carpet from Arabia. And you are reminded of that, but you know it's not a magic carpet.
Right. I'm going to like draw the tapestry to the side with my wand while it's still lit with Lumos and just kind of peer in, see what I can see.
You do so, and as you move it to the side, it moves easily because you realize it's on a dowel via several rings, kind of like a shower curtain, and it shifts to the side.
I'm going to call out.
You do not need to because the first thing that you see is a study, so that you know that the next immediate area is enclosed. There is a candlelight and a torchlight in this room, but the next immediate thing that you notice through all the books, there are cobwebs everywhere. I need you to give me a...
Disgusting.
I need you to give me a... We're going to do a willpower check this time.
Oh, okay.
Cunning. I'm sorry. It is cunning.
Cunning. Both?
No.
Okay, cunning. 13 plus 5.
13. Give me another willpower, just for funsies.
4 plus 5.
You know instinctively those cobwebs are not made by regular sized spiders. It's either that this area has stayed stagnant and alone for years and years and years, or it is made by something more significant. Also adding to that is the fact that it is lit right now, meaning that somebody has likely been here somewhat recently.
Mm-hmm. Are there so many cobwebs I can't walk down the corridor, or
You can walk down the corridor into this significant study, and you even see another doorway through a veil of cobwebs that seem to be like torn through ish to go through to the other door. but there is something about the study that's making you feel itchy on the back of your neck.
I'm going to enter the study.
Give me a magic check.
Because I do love going for friggin'... It was an 11, I promise. 11 plus 3, 14.
Okay.
I do love hunting for secrets.
You enter the study, and you immediately see a desk on your left side. Very nice, comfortable chair. And a book is open. You don't really care to read it. There's books everywhere. Everywhere. Different pieces of parchment with quills next to them. The inkwells have gone dry. There is a sack of some sort between you and the door that's leading onward. The sack looks like it's been kind of like knocked aside by whoever was here. I need you to give me a cunning check.
16 plus 5.
The sack that I'm talking about, you recognize as a significant egg sac of an arachnid.
Okay. That's fair.
And behind you, you hear subtle scratching sounds of something moving in the cobwebs.
Probably not important.
Poppy!
I'm going to glance at the book that was open. Because I'm intensely curious if it's runic and mentions Merlin and stuff.
It is runic. There is nothing in the common language, common tongue.
Okay, and as I'm looking at that, I'm turning around. Like, it was like an in passing kind of thing.
The first thing that you see as Lumos penetrates this wall is that it is reflected back 8 times.
Mm-hmm. Great. I'm going to ask it its name.
It says, food.
Oh, it actually says something.
What's your defense?
My defense is 12.
Cool. It gets you.
I have Salvo Hexia, by the way.
Yes. This is physical, and
Okay.
it will deflect immediately off of Salvo Hexia,
Mm.
deflecting this one attack, and you're just like, oh! And you're actually knocked backward a bit and catch yourself on the chair.
Okay.
It is your turn.
I don't like that. Would it be able to fit in the other hallway?
Back where you went?
No, the one next to the sack. You said the sack was between me and a hallway.
Between you and a doorway.
Doorway.
Very questionable.
Very questionable if the spider would be able to fit through a doorway because it's that big.
Uh-huh.
Jesus. I am going to reach for the candle. Am I able to remove the candle or the candelabra?
The candle has a large, long stalk that you can grab the whole thing and have it. Yeah,
Can I tell that it's magically lit or is it a natural flame?
it looks natural.
Okay, I'm going to be very careful with it then. And I'm going to hold it out in front of me between myself and the spider. And I'm going to... Am I able to make Lumos brighter?
That would be Lumos Solem, which you do not have.
Okay.
You can try to empower it, yes, but
Yeah.
there is a specific spell for extra effects.
I'm going to attempt to stupefy this spider, and then immediately after it hits, assuming that it does hit, I'm going to try and burn the webs.
Okay.
Stupefy. 7 plus 5 for Dex is 12, and Willpower is 10 plus 5 for 15.
Succeed.
Yay.
It tried to launch itself right at you again, and when you cast Stupefy, it gets like just under its like jaw, so it's like not midair, but like on 6 of its legs as the other 2 are stretching towards you, and it's just like.
Do I know if lighting the webs would have like an immediate type of effect on the spider and its abilities?
It depends on where you use them, but in your adrenaline state, you know that it can work, but you would have to pick an area that it's not super dense and collected.
Mm-hmm. I did 7 damage, by the way.
Okay.
I'm going to attempt to sidestep its legs and get on its side, and I'm reaching for any bundling of webs that might look lightable.
Okay. That's pretty easy, so give me a dex check to see if you can separate it.
Okay. Nat 20.
You just rip it from end to end, and now you have a wad of acromantula web.
I'm going to light it with the intent of lighting all of the webs on fire. I just don't want to get caught.
It starts to move a little bit, especially as it's seeing you like burn some of what it made, and you're lighting the bottom on fire. It's like, come on,
yeah,
come on.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
I feel it.
It's making its way towards you, and once it's within a meter of you, it lights, and it actually goes up pretty quick. So it's about a third of the way already aflame. What do you do?
I am going to drop the bigger fire onto a bundle of webs with hopes that everything catches, and cast Salvo Hexia again because it dissipated. Salvo Hexia! Ooh. Is there... Okay, the dex check on defensive spell, does that matter too much?
Yes.
Okay, I rolled a 3 plus 5.
Okay.
And
go ahead and roll willpower.
Willpower is... that's a miscast for me. Okay.
So as it's launching itself towards you and it sees the fire and it's like trying to stop you and you're just like, yeet, and it actually successfully catches several, like a big bundle, and it lights up much faster than you even thought, like, damn. Yeah. It starts just burning really fast. It manages to get you in the stomach.
With what, like a fang?
2 fangs. Dealing you 6 damage.
Ow.
Yeah. You see now that you are just an easy left turn and like sprint to the door. The room is alighting very quickly.
I do that. I go to my. You're such a good mind reader. I wanted to escape because of my leading questions. Obviously, I wanted to escape after lighting all the webs on fire.
Dex check.
I do that.
This is a flee check.
Fun. 4 plus 5.
You trip on your way and catch yourself on the egg sack that was knocked over. That you're just like, it's an egg sack of more acromantulas. Jesus Christ. It deals you an additional 3 damage on your foot.
Ow. Really don't like this spider right now. Well, getting on the other side of the door and closing it is my best option right now, so I'm going to do everything I can to desperately scramble to get on the other side and close it.
Cool.
It's a 10. If that was a dex check, it's 15.
Cool. You make it to the door, you open it, and it opens very easily, and you were able to get to the other side and just like shove it closed, and you actually catch one of its legs, and it like recoils and screeches.
Awesome.
And you can like press it closed, and it like can latch on the other side. You're like,
do I know that spiders can open doors? Do I know if they can?
Give me
19.
You think based on the dexterity that it showed that it's possible, but they don't have fingies.
Yeah.
So you can like wait there.
Yeah.
But the thing is at the moment that you start to try to listen and calm your heartbeat down so you can hear more, You finally realize there is no sound on the other side of this door.
There's no sound in my current room.
There's no sound in this room, but there's also no sound where you came. In other words, you don't hear the spider. You don't even hear the fire crackling. You don't feel any heat coming from the door.
Weird.
It's like that room now no longer exists.
Okay. I dust myself off and check my stomach wound.
It is still there. Very much real.
Ow.
Yes. Give me a constitution check, please.
15 natural.
Perfect. You resist the poisoning.
Great.
And you're like,
I do a very amateur-esque rap, if I can.
So let me give you the scope of what happens first, because this might change what you do. So, you're going to hesitate before doing so, but eventually you're going to have to let go of the door.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and you realize that the only light in here besides your own Lumos spell comes from a blue flame just straight ahead from you that's a flame under a black cauldron.
Okay.
And once again, as you approach, it's like the room is manifesting more and more as you're focusing on the room details.
Okay.
And so you can see the ceiling now. It's slightly domed. Like it's the kind of castle-like doming every so often type of structure that was an old British structure that they used to try to keep the upper floors safe and secure. And actually, anyway. Sometimes worked, sometimes didn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's the kind of ceiling that you have. Beyond that, the cauldron is actively boiling. There's something currently inside of it, but with the limited light, even from your own spell, it's hard to discern a color. But based on what you can see,
the blue flame?
You would hazard a guess that the potion is clear like water.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, somebody making soup. Just to the left of that, there is a side table that's actually kind of nicely curving along the edge of the cauldron, like they're made out of like a set. And on that little side table is 3 goblets.
Okay.
They're empty, but they're made of crystal. And you're like, damn, somebody nice and fancy. And you're mystified, but then you look up and see double doors that were not there before.
I thought you said Dumbledore.
You see Dumbledore, about a cadaver.
What?
Double doors. And if you were to approach them and touch them, they may as well be made of ice, based on how thick the layer of ice is on them.
Got it.
You will hear a voice behind you then. And say, you are not where you are meant to be. I don't know who you are, but the fact that you found your way here proves that you might have the potential to make it to the end. Do you turn around?
No, I actually just call out back like, I was looking for a way out.
The only way out is forward, kiddo.
I do a slight actual head twitch, and I turn around.
This place will be your tomb, unless you can make it through those doors.
Who are you?
You will, even more so, push your wand forward to try to get more of a visage of this person, and just on the edge of your light, you will see a figure significant and, kind of so much robe volume that he reminds you of Dumbledore, actually, because of how wide they are, but you cannot see who they are, there any detail about them. Definitely a masculine tone, though. And
I'm going to go off on a limb here, and I'm going to say, am I being graced by Merlin's presence right now?
Merely his presence, not the real him, unfortunately. If you were to find perhaps the 3 ingredients needed to finish this potion of mine, it may allow you access to my inner chamber. Or you can sit here twiddling your thumbs until you run out of air and die.
Definitely don't like the latter. Your inner chambers, I imagine that would be the way forward.
Yes. And ultimately the exit.
What 3 ingredients do you need?
You'll see. And the form that you'll see on the edge of your sight will sort of like fade into the ground like a shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can barely see it split into 3 and like crawl along the ground into what really ultimately looks like darkness on around you.
Mm-hmm.
But as you are looking around and you're just like, where'd you go? Or like you're looking for clues, you're looking for like what the heck's happening. The more you spin and like look, you actually see that there is like a small opening in the darkness. And like maybe like a grayness or like a light starts to spawn. And so as you proceed towards that, more of the room starts to be created or manifests as you are making your way forward. And what I'm trying to say to you is that the room that was totally vague and like nothing at all is starting to become more of a something as you explore it. So this room will split into 3 spokes, I guess. It's all one room,
yeah.
but it will break into 3 different spokes as you are exploring more. And the first one that you can go down will look like you're walking straight into a room that is manifesting a galaxy or like the universe around you. And there is a miniature adaptation of our galaxy, kind of spinning around a miniature sun.
I recognize it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You took astronomy
Yes.
For 5 years. So you will recognize, like, damn, there's Neptune. It can't go into retrograde.
Perfect.
If you were to approach the solar system, you would hear, King Arthur was already born under a strong sign. It basically marked him to be the ruler of us all. Very few are actually born under the sign in which he was born. And you must put that planet into my cauldron.
Under a strong sign? Is there anything else in this room of note?
There's no papers, no books, nothing like that. I want you to give me a magic check.
3 + 3 = 6.
The magic in here is too complicated and thick for you to really discern a lot of detail about anything that stands out. I will say, I'll describe to you also one more thing about this whole entire room that you're in, is that depending on where you're standing, your body feels almost distorted.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, like that feeling where you're on the edge of like you know that you're nearing the edge of a cliff or like a sharp slope or whatever, and like you
I
almost feel,
hate this room.
You almost feel that your body almost like ebbing towards it.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's
my character hates that.
It's almost that feeling, but like half your body feels that way every once in a while, depending on where you're standing.
What am I standing on? Stone?
Stone. Even, flat stone. Does Jeff hate that feeling?
I actually do hate that feeling of imbalance and heights. He has a fear of flying, and that's somewhat related to like heights and whatnot. But that's like the heights and stuff is more of a logical fear, and imbalance is a logical fear. But flying in particular is what he's afraid of. But my character still does not like that imbalanced feeling. That's why he doesn't like flying. It's because he never really got the hang of it because it was never really found the right balance. So it's just reminding him of his failures in flying, really. I'm going to do, I guess it would be a history check on my courses to see if I can remember which planet represented power and might and ruling.
You can give me 2 magic checks. One will be for your astronomy classes, and one will be for your history of magic classes.
Great. First one, astronomy.
Sure.
18 plus 3 magic.
Damn. You know that the ironic part of the planets is that even though it is the largest planet, it is rarely the source of joy, due to the ruinous nature of that birth sign. Jupiter is often associated with kings, of dictators, of terrorists, and ruin. Those who are born under it.
I mean, that's a strong sign. But would that be the right one? Am I getting the feeling that King Arthur may not be cracked up? Like all that cracked up to what Merlin's claiming?
Let's have a history of magic check.
Alright. 12 plus 3 magic.
You hear Professor Binns in your head and you already feel like dull. You're just like, oh, this fucker. You hear him droll about how birth dates and birth that and dates of this and symbolism and how we got to this point. You really gotta and you do remember back in your second year of the very early days of magic. Very, very early days, medieval times, before medieval times, and how you were warned by the professor early on that history is subjective on who survived the history.
Mm-hmm.
And so those who are considered heroes may have been some of the worst beings ever to walk the earth.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that pretty much solidifies my Jupiter grabbing, but I would like to be careful. I'm going to give Jupiter a little taparoo with my wand to make sure it's tangible first.
Magic check.
A 4 plus 3.
You feel nothing really magical about it at all.
I attempt to pick it up from the bottom, just like scoop and lift.
As soon as your fingers grab it, it sort of softly sinks in to the planet as if you're grabbing flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And also, as soon as you grab it, the other planets drop and start bouncing and rolling around.
That's actually kind of funny.
And you look around, and the illusion of the planets is gone, and it's a bunch of fruit that's rolling around you now. And you look back at Jupiter, and it's a very large grapefruit.
All right. Do the other fruits look edible?
Yes.
I'm so gonna eat one.
There is... Okay.
Which one was Earth? I'm eating that one.
Which one was Earth?
Yeah.
A green apple.
Oh, I'm so eating that.
You eat the green apple, you regain 3 HP.
Fantastic. HP is really just icing on the cake there. My foot feels a lot better now. Alright. I walk back to the main room, take the grapefruit, and I plunge it into the cauldron.
You can hear Poppy's voice in your head also when you're like, I'm gonna feed this thought into your character, just like, should I peel it? And then you hear Poppy in your head go, no, dummy, you keep the skin on. It's extra nutrients for the potion drinker. You're like, alright. You just toss it in. There's a big wet plop as it actually splashes out of the potion and threatens to burn you, and you're just like, ugh!
Yeah.
And the simmering, boiling potion suddenly turns a very sunny tone of yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually evens out,
Mm-hmm.
and then starts swirling, simmering, not an active boil.
Okay.
The flame remains blue.
Okay.
Now the question is, do you drink it, or do you keep looking around the room?
Oh, I don't think I should drink it. He said I need 3 ingredients to move on. So I imagine that the potion is not something I would want to imbibe until all 3 ingredients were in there. So I'm going to go to the next hallway.
Okay.
the next closest one, if I'm able to.
Okay. I imagine you're keeping Lumos on like the whole time.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I literally Salvo, Hexia, and Lumos are just on constantly at this point.
Okay. You're going to spin around the room again, like looking for the next opening, and you could swear that you're now seeing like another like opening in the gray, and you're like, is it there? Is it there? And like you're trying to go towards this like pinprick of light, but you're like you can't seem to like manifest this area yet. You're like, okay, maybe after the next one. That's weird.
I go to the next hallway.
So then you like look around, and sure enough, there's one over there, and like it's a big green vague cloud opening thing, and you go towards it, and it suddenly like progresses into a rolling garden, and then edges into a forest, and before the forest is a very thick pond. And you're
Say thick pond.
A thick, like dense, deep pond is what I meant to say.
Got it.
Sorry. And as you step out onto this fresh foliage, you are hit with smells of very fresh vegetation, and you could swear that you're outside. Like you look up and you still see like the edges of the ceiling, but just past that, like you see treetops.
Mm-hmm.
But there may as well be sunlight coming down.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very discombobulating feeling, on top of the still somewhat feeling of falling. You approach, and you are just touching like the edge of the dirt, and you hear Merlin speak again, and you say, and he says, I never met my parents. I was actually raised by a man who was a well-known herbalist in Camelot, and he taught me many things about salves, potions, healing the sick. And many memories that I have of childhood consist of running to the forest and grabbing more of this ingredient, because it is remarkably common in almost every poultice he would make for the wounded.
Are there any red flupels nearby?
No. You see 6 to 8 different things that are like readily available, and you're like, I wish that I paid more attention in potions.
Mm-hmm.
Other F. You see amaranth, you see lavender, you see jazzberries, you see a lemon, you see rose, you see a water lily, you see green flaglings.
I am going to roll a d20 for an herbology check or a potions check.
It will be both. Well done.
All right.
2 d20s, one herbology, and one...
Herbology first, because I said it first. Herbology, 17 plus, what, magic?
Damn.
17 plus 3, 20.
You pass it anyway. You whittle it down very quickly.
What goes with grapefruit?
You
what goes
know
with grapefruit?
that as far as healing properties, jazzberries
yes,
are
of course.
very common with like healing properties in general. They also have a very sweet flavor, which makes them enjoyed by many people.
And it goes so well with a tart grapefruit, I imagine.
Lavender is often used as a tea for sleep aid, for calming, and anxiety. And then amaranth is also used to help spice up many energy potions to help people feel better when they're needing wakefulness. So
Alright.
those 3. Amaranth is like a purple pink, lavender obviously purple, raspberries are stark white.
So the jazzberries is the thing I need to grab. You just described the other 2? Or all 3 a viable option?
All 3 are a viable option.
I'm going to do the potions check. 4 plus 3. So I've got something for energy, I've got something for calming, and I've got something for healing. And Merlin's first thing that he said was this incredibly common ingredient in most poultices, which are of a healing nature, if I'm not mistaken. I am tempted just to grab the damn jazzberries. I am going to use a spell with the intent that I might cut through the illusion a little bit. I'm going to use Revelio on the Jazzberries. Revelio. Rolls, he says. 8 plus 5, and 17, which is a crit for me.
Revelio seems to cut through the visage that you're seeing of the scene, as if you're cutting through, like, this isn't real, and you're, like, slicing through, like, as if this was on a piece of paper, and you're, like, cutting across it. But the image doesn't dissipate, but it, like, seems to cut across the grass and these plants that you're seeing in front of you, and it slices away everything except for the lavender and jazzberries. And you're like, fuck. And all you actually see, you kind of pause for a moment, like remarking on what has happened, because the pond actually like ripples as an aftermath of your spell, and also like the foliage is nowhere near as pretty. Like the grass is uprooted, there's dirt everywhere, and you're just like, damn.
Okay. I instinctively was going to go for the jazzberries. I don't want to be the person to doubt myself and then change. Also, I don't think lavender would... I don't know, this is just me. I don't think lavender would go with grapefruit. And also jazzberries, as it's like a commonality between the two ingredients so far. Like one fruit, then another fruit. Yeah, I'm going to reach for the jazzberries and attempt to pluck them from the vine.
You were able to pluck a nice handful of, and raspberries are larger than grapes. They're like half the size of a tennis ball. Like they would fill your entire mouth biting into one.
Got it.
You pluck a batch of them, about 3, and you carry them over, and you drop them into the potion.
Right.
And almost as soon as they touch the surface and descend through, the potion turns white and starts like almost like a fireworks show where it sparks just above the cauldron, and you actually like back up a little bit. You're like, oh god! It's like what are those fireworks called? Not it's kind of like
crackle balls,
kind of like sparkler effects, like all on top.
Okay.
And now like you're even doubting that this can be drunk in this state. You're like, okay, pretty but wild.
Got it.
And you can proceed down the third and final spoke. This time the pinprick has started to expand, almost like inviting you, like, come this way now. You proceed downward. And once again, you are discombobulated because it's like you are walking through a portal to another area of the planet.
Okay.
Instead of walking into the galaxy, instead of walking into a private forest garden, you walked directly into a cave. More specifically, not into a cave. You are walking out of a cave.
Okay.
As in, you can see the cave mouth right there, about 20 meters out.
Alright.
Between you and it is a mountain troll. It is sitting, leaning up against the right wall, its head bowed down, and a huge snot bubble is like growing and just diminishing, growing and diminishing. And it's abundantly obvious that this thing is fast asleep. You hear Merlin once again whispering behind you, saying, blood. The most vital of our many necessities. You can't live without blood. Just ask a vampire. You can't cast without blood. And many of your most powerful abilities can be cast by using another's blood.
You want to go into sneak?
Fumos!
My dex roll wasn't very good on sneak. 3 plus 5, but I get plus 6 because I have sneak.
Yep.
So that's 11 plus 3 is 14.
With the advantage of it being asleep. Okay.
I attempt to leave the cave, like go through the opening.
Okay.
Staying far away from the troll, obviously.
You will, unfortunately, if you are aiming for that, you will have to walk directly in front of it.
Okay.
There is going to be about a meter between its feet and the other wall.
Got it.
So you proceed trying to walk past it?
Yes.
Okay. Give me another dex check.
17 plus 5. Well, 17 plus 5 plus 6, rather. So really it's 28 if it's a sneak.
You will trip. Unfortunately, based on a rock that you did not see from the shadow of its feet. With the light coming down, and there was a rock right there behind its foot shadow.
Damn.
And I rolled snake eyes. And you will trip on the rock and catch yourself, but you will have caused noise directly in front of it. You will have to re-engage sneak and see what the roll is. It starts to stir at the sound from you.
Sneak. 5 plus 5 plus 6, 16.
Okay. It's rolling awareness with disadvantage. It blurely opens its eyes, but it's pointed upward. And closes its eyes again, opens dimly, and then goes back to sleep. Then you were able to make your way past.
Am I able to leave?
You make your way to the ultimate mouth of the cave.
The maw.
Its very mouth.
The maw of the cave.
You see the dawning sun rising, and you're just cool, I'm out. And you step outside, and you warp back to the beginning of the cave.
Am I able to walk back into the main room?
Yes. You turn around, and the cauldron's right there.
I go to the cauldron, and I draw my own blood and put that in.
Okay. Give me a cunning check. Or this is a awareness check, environment check.
A cunning, so it would be 4 plus 5 for 9.
Okay.
Been rolling a lot of 4s.
You've been unfortunately rolling kind of low.
Unfortunately. Sorry.
Anyway, how do you use your own blood?
I'm going to go for... A lot of people seem to like to do the inside of their palm, but that seems weird to me because it's so used frequently. We just keep reopening.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go on the back of the hand.
With what?
With the sheer will of me needing to draw blood,
Wand.
I look at the crystal goblets, and I wonder if I'm going to need one of them. I look for alternatives.
It does occur to you that you can break the crystal to make a jagged edge. It also occurs to you don't know a single healing spell.
I'm gonna look. Would I be able to use a sharpened rock? Let's see here. I'm going to look for a sharp piece of ice.
Of ice?
Yeah, there's a sheet of ice covering the doors.
Oh, right. Okay, I'm with you.
So I'm going to see if I can't get an icicle to cut myself with. I also just realized there's a whole scene in the movies and the book where I'm not going to say his name because that's not my character, but
He who must not
Harry would say the name,
Uh-huh.
and Dumbledore would say the name,
Uh-huh.
where he says Voldemort is the type of wizard who would weaken his enemies before they are being challenged or before he confronts them.
Sounds like the move of a very self-conscious ruler.
Yes.
You have to be weaker before you fight me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Do I find an icicle?
You do not. It's
Yeah.
a clean, flush sheet of
Yeah,
ice.
it's magical. Yeah. All right. I'm going to attempt to go around. I imagine the crystal goblets, they have a base. I'm going to attempt to crack the base ever so slightly with my wand.
Strength check.
Because I don't want to break the whole damn thing. I just want to break just enough of it.
There are 3 goblets, just to remind you.
I know, but I have a feeling that all 3 goblets might come into play, so I would like to be able to use one of them in case. Or all 3, if need be. Strength, I have 0 strength, but I rolled an 11.
You do not break the bottom, but you unfortunately knock it off of the stand because the stem is so thin and feeble. You're just like, eh.
Oh. Well, so much for that. I pick up a jagged piece and I cut the back of my hand. And I cut it over the cauldron so I don't waste any of the blood.
Dex check.
12 plus 5. 17.
You do so. And
Super.
with enough wherewithal to not cut too deeply.
Yeah.
However, as soon as you do so, you run the risk of nerve damage. Because doing this on the back is right where a lot of tendons are to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to say that I'm not going to cover this right now, but later on, I'm going to have to do a constitution wherewithal to see if this did any harm to your hand later on.
Okay.
Okay.
Super.
Several drops drop in, and you even like keep it there like longer than you think like you really need to, because you're seeing like drop after drop after drop after drop, and then finally you're just like, all right, that's enough. Especially once the potion evens out into like a sickly pink, and then it seems to swirl more of the white and then the pink, and then it has like a vein of yellow, and then it starts to swirl and swirl and swirl, and then it finally settles into a nice, almost creamy orange. It is no longer simmering, not boiling, despite the abundant flame that's under it. You also see in the corner of your eyes the spokes, the outpouches, diminish into nothing, and it is just you, the way back, the cauldron, the way forward.
I take an unbroken goblet and I dip it inside of the potion.
You get a heaping goblet full, and it actually has like the consistency of a smoothie.
I examine it thoroughly, and if I don't notice anything, I cast Revelio on the goblet that has the potion in it.
You get hints of citrus as you smell it. It smells very appealing. You are not convinced of its magical properties.
I cast Revelio on it. Revelio. 14 plus 5 and 15 plus 5.
You cast Revelio, and you are convinced there is no secret. It's just you and the work that you put in to find an answer. And you realize that the real thing that this is hinging on is whether or not you put in the correct blood.
Right. I sip it, but I don't drink it all.
You sip it, and it's like you are back in the Great Hall drinking a morning smoothie, and you're like, pretty good. And you have a feeling in the back of your head that you're not quite sure if this is magical or if this is like a self-fulfilling prophecy, that you are convinced that something is churning inside you, something is happening, but you're not sure. But drinking more of it would probably waken more.
I will finish it.
Okay.
Not the entire cauldron, just the cauldron.
Yeah. I drink the fire, too.
Weird.
You are able to drink it heartily and evenly, It fills up your stomach. Like, you are actually, like, surprised at how good this tastes, despite the fact that there's human blood inside of it. You're like, it's fine. It's my own blood, who cares? And it's gone. And you, like, wipe your chin because it's gotten on your chin a bit, and you put the goblet down, and just around you, you see, like, an aura of, like, waving something. And you were like, great, I'm going to spontaneously combust now. That's my... I should have paid attention more in potions. This is just great. And Perry, you see yourself alight in, like, literal light, as if you are in flames, like golden flames. And you are not burning, but you know that you have likely created the answer to this problem.
Well, I'm going to use the fire immediately on the ice.
No.
Am I able to, like, cast it that way?
No, not like that. Like, you get close, and as you get closer to the door, it almost instantly starts to melt and, like, create a concave, like, opening until you are in the concave opening, and then it all just vanishes into a waterfall of water, all hits the ground, just, like, goes out. And then, even if you were to look back, the water would then put out the blue flame, and the rest of the room would just fade into nothing.
All right.
And if you look down at yourself, the fire goes out.
Great. Open the door.
You immediately open the door. You're just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And you immediately open
Clearly,
the door.
this is all, like, made to be some type of a test, and it's like, I don't think that after all this, the door would be, like, trapped or anything like that. It's like, I went through the steps in order to open this. Great. The door is a mimic. You lose.
You chose the wrong potion. I know. You open the door, and instantly you know that you are somewhere not in the dungeons. Like, you feel in an instant that you have risen several stories into the sky. Not because you were literally in the sky, but it's like you are now in a tower in Hogwarts. Suddenly way higher up than a dungeon would be.
Do I recognize this place?
No, but it's as if it's... I want you to imagine in the movies Flitwick's classroom. Very large and open, with, like, almost pews going up the sides. Like, my point is that it's a very large, almost cathedral-sized classroom. It's that size, but it's very open.
All right.
It's very, very open. There's no desks, there's no chairs, there's no students, there's nothing like that.
This is a blank, empty, large room.
Except...
That's way up on a tower?
Except there is a 2 staircases that are on either side of something that go up to, like, kind of a half-circle loop. And the reason that's there is because in between the 2 staircases, sitting, is a giant mechanical something that's humanoid.
Okay.
And you know... This is likely it. This is likely the golem that you've been hearing about. And its head just rests right where that semicircle little loop exists at the top of the stairs.
Mm.
Just behind the golem's head are 2 people. And
up on top of the semicircle?
Up on top of it. Okay. And one person has their back to you. The other looks down at you. And he just, like, shakes his head and he's like... How did you get in here? And you recognize him as Connor, head boy.
Super. I'm gonna say more like, how did you not prevent me from coming here?
What?
Is it just like total silence? I wanted that effect.
He just blinks and he's like, what?
I passed the test and I was told that these were the inner chambers and that I would be able to escape. I have no desire to be here. And I have no desire to be speaking with the head boy that's wrapped up in Merlin's crazy obsession.
I never said that I was part of this.
But you're here.
I am.
Forgive me for assuming.
I need you to give me a cunning check.
Nope.
Yeah. You are so shaken by, like, the fact that other people are here, the fact that it's head boy and someone else. And
Do I recognize the back of the other person?
That was the cunning check. You're so focused on what's happening between you and Connor that you're just like, how do I handle this situation?
Yeah.
Like, is this a threat? Is this not? I don't understand. And Connor says, the exit's through there. Once you get back,
I'm like already walking towards the exit.
you will, like, if you are kind of keeping an eye on him, you will see that he sort of like just freezes in mid-sentence
I stop.
and go deadpan and like mouth slightly agape. Person number 2 will turn around and face you, and it's Elvia.
But you were cool. What?
She says, you were never supposed to be here, hon.
How's your merfolk coming along? This is a very... I'm actually asking that. This is a very specific way that I'm going to try and tell if she's under the Imperious Curse.
She says, it's great.
Yeah?
It has no pertinence to what we're doing right now.
It did.
Okay. Look. I know this looks bad. Okay? Hey.
Well, perception's reality, isn't it?
My father died during the war. I lost him to dark magic wizards who... You probably didn't lose anyone.
I did. No one immediate, though.
Then you have an idea of what it feels like to feel like not all justice was served over a war that is believed to be over. I know that I can never bring my father back. That's not what this is about. I don't ever want this to happen again. I don't want anyone to ever lose their parents because of a stupid war over right and wrong, when it's so blatantly obvious what is right and wrong. This golem thing was made, regardless of who made it, this was made to defend wizards against the wrong type of magic. It was made to protect our kind against people like he who must not be named. I'm sure of it. And if it wasn't made for that, we can make it so. It has magical capabilities that I've never seen before. The only problem is that it must run off of raw magical material. And that's... regrettable.
I already know. The golem runs off of blood. And you say that it's there, it was made to defend against the wrong type of magic, but it requires the wrong type of magic in order for it to be working. And also, it begs the question, who are we to even judge the wrong kind of magic?
We are the people who've lost from the wrong type of people. We can decide this. The people who have done wrong don't get to decide. Hatham has done plenty wrong, and now he will never do wrong again.
Listen.
Here's a story.
Yeah. I'm really sorry about your father. And I'm really sorry about everyone who's lost their fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, friends. They can't come back. But neither can Hatham.
Good.
He had family. We all have family. Granted, the Dark Wizards might have been the aggressors, but this is not the answer.
Then what is the answer?
Knowing our enemy. Getting to know them know their what drives them, what motivates them. And if it really is so black and white that their drive comes from murder, then so be it. We have a way to defend ourselves. But a blood-fueled golem that can also probably be countered in some way, it's just a matter of time before they find a solution to this golem. It's not the answer. And we're not in the position in order to make these kinds of decisions. This room, Merlin's wing, all the books, all the people involved, they must be notified. I implore you, as a very intelligent young woman, to reconsider.
Did you know that he who must not be named was a Slytherin?
And it occurred to me, yes.
When Connor and I... She'll look over at Connor, who's still, like, deadpan, like, not even there. And she'll say, when Connor and I first started as head boy and head girl, it was really hard for me to work with him. Because he's Slytherin. Because I know that the majority of Death Eaters, if not all of them, came from his house. When Hatham was cornered, it doesn't really matter what he was doing, but... And I lost it at him. I asked if he even cared about the people that he was attacking, if he even cared about trying to repair his family's name, if he even cared about finding peace in this world. He said that he would rather follow in his parents' footsteps. And you should give me a cunning check.
16 plus 5.
This does not flow with what you've heard of Hatham at all. Okay. And she says, and he tried to fight us off, and he tried to maybe even kill us. But luckily, we subdued him, and he was rightly expelled. He did make his decision to do the wrong thing. I understand that they're called unforgivable curses. I understand that I am controlling people's thoughts. I am controlling their actions. I get that. But at the end of the day, they are still the murderous house. They are still the people who will always choose to better themselves and save themselves over their own kind. I'm not changing my mind. You can run to Dumbledore and tell him everything. I have everything that I need here already.
I'm going to attempt one more thing. The very type of wizard that you are seeking to fight against, some of them haven't even used or even know how to use the unforgivable curses. You have gone so far beyond that not only do I think that you're using things that it's just unforgivable. You're risking becoming literally what you're trying to fight against. And you're trying to place the blame on a broken boy from a house that you don't belong to. Dumbledore himself, in all of his many years, actually defended Hatham. I heard it from him.
You really can't trust anyone. The difference between me and them may be that I have the knowledge to perform Imperious. But the big difference is that I will stop as soon as I am done here.
What do you need?
Hatham failed to bring me the last dose of blood, and I can't get to his body. Which means she'll look over at Connor. The fastest way to do this is to, well, you get it.
Do I have any knowledge of how to break, like, concentration efforts or effects?
Distraction is a very nifty tool.
Well, in all my time at Hogwarts, I never imagined that it would come down to this. I'm so sorry. Stupefy.
Okay.
And after I stupefy, I switch targets, which I have to cast again. Salvo Hexia on Connor.
Okay. Stupefy on her, Salvio Hexia on him.
In that order.
Okay. Cast for Stupefy.
12 plus 5 for 17.
Cool.
And then 10 plus 5 for 15 on the spell.
Whew! You actually managed to stun her.
Super. And then the Salvo Hexia rolls.
Go for it.
Salvo Hexia. 3 plus 5 is 8. And then a nat 20 on the cast.
You cast Salvo Hexia, and then as soon as she is stupefied, he stirs, and he looks over at her, then down at you, and draws his wand and descends towards you.
Descends towards me aggressively, or
Yeah.
just to be with me?
Descent, like pointing his wand at you. But that is his full turn, his jarring, his awareness, and then his movement.
Alright. Is it my turn again?
Mm-hmm.
Because she's stunned? I need to expend the MP. Those were not non-verbal.
So they're not okay.
Or
And
not-
also, you came into this room with full MP, I'm going to say.
Okay, cool. That's nice of you. Alright, so it's going to be 6, which I already account for, and then, what, 8 for Stupefy? 7. But it's down to 6 because I have efficiency. That's 45. Alright. I gotta do a little bit of the convincing game. I'm going to use my turn to legitimately use most of my turn, basically, with the exception of maybe some movement, because I might want to go into sneak if possible.
Okay.
To convince Connor that he is or was under the effects of the Imperious Curse by Elvia.
Okay. Cunning roll.
14 plus 5.
Okay. You will say your piece. He will continue to proceed towards you. But through that 19, you will know It's like you're talking to a stone house.
I redirect Salvo Hexia onto myself.
Okay. So you uncast and recast?
Yes.
Okay.
Onto myself. And it can be uncast as an instant. I'm trying to do math and do that at the same time, sorry. I just need to write down the number before I forgot it. Uncasting is an instant, and then my minor action, which was going to be for movement, is going to be put it back onto me. Because it's a sustain, which is great. 4 + 5, and then another crit for the cast.
Cool. You summon a crit Salvo Hexia spell around yourself as he raises his wand and casts Koloshu, and it will hit. You feel your shoes adhere to the ground.
Is it a jinx or hex?
It is it's a hex. So never mind. But give me any roll, call odds or evens, please.
Oh, do I roll?
Yes.
Okay. D6, even numbers in my favor. 4.
Cool. Wow. So it will deflect Koloshu back on him, and he's like... You notice that he is not speaking at all. Okay. Elvia can move now.
Also, I didn't do the damage on Stupefying.
Please do so.
I realized later. Alright, so 5 + 3 is 8.
Lovely. Elvia shall cast...
The hex being redirected dissipates it, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my god. She sucks at decks. She sucks at casting.
Amazing.
Wow. Yeah, she will cast a spell and then cast it, and she's so far away from you, and she did not properly aim, so Incendio shoots right past your left ear, and you're just like, it is your turn.
Would have been handy against the spider.
Yeah.
I am going to use a major action movement toward the exit,
Okay.
and then cast Salvo Hexia on me again. 11 and 16, which is almost a crit. So Salvo Hexia, I imagine, is successful on me.
Yes.
And I get a major action towards the exit.
Okay. You just book it towards the exit. You don't make it there, but you are like more than halfway from where you were, and create significant distance between you and Connor. No, she can roll. Except this time she actually sends Incendio at the door. That will hit, and it will catch the wood on fire. So you get to the door, and it will just like in flames. It doesn't explode. It's not a destruction spell, but it will be like, okay. But I wanted to go through that. And then Connor's turn. Okay. He casts Finite on Koloshu on himself, so he's freed himself. So and he's then slowly like waddling towards you.
Finite cantatum. Yeah, I can move again. Alright. Do I know what type of door it is? Meaning how it works.
It's just a normal.
Does it latch or does it swing freely?
It's a latch.
I don't have any strength. What type of a handle is it?
It is a hoop that descends outward, so it's not like an old port door, but it's like like a front door without a trigger knob.
Do I know if it's a push or pull?
No.
Damn it. These are not good things.
I should probably have told you that your HP went up to full after drinking that potion.
That would have been really nice.
I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry.
It's okay.
I was so into describing it that I'm like,
You're fine.
there's something I'm forgetting.
Alright. Salvo Hexia is still on me, so I turn and do non-verbal stupefy.
On who?
Connor this time.
Okay. Damn.
I really don't like the fact that my page kept flipping down. So a 7 total, and then 11, which is 11 plus 5 for 16, which is not a natural crit for the spellcast.
Okay.
But I got a 7.
Do you want to turn off the fan? I can, but are you asking? I'm asking if you want me to.
Oh no, I'll just keep remembering to keep my arm on there.
Okay.
It feels nice, so I don't want to turn it off.
Spellcasts. 16 is not a non-verbal crit.
So I have 14 down. It has to be a natural 14 or higher for it to crit. I rolled an 11 plus
Oh, I
5
see.
is 16
I
on the
see.
success.
I see.
But just a 7 on the dex total.
That casts. Because
Oh, wow.
He has like no dodging capability right now because he's not there.
Okay, cool.
So stupefy. Roll damage, please. Cool.
Well, that makes sense. 1 plus 3 is 4.
Okay. He will almost comically like be hit, and he's like, "Ow!" Like just sort of like cringe from the pain, and then let freeze.
Oh, is he stunned?
Yeah.
Alright, well, at least I stunned him. Alright. And then that's going to be not 6, but 8 MP, dropping me to 25.
And you're recovering 2 each turn.
Nope. So 27.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, I think I've only missed a total of 2 MP, or maybe 4. So it's all good. I don't mind. It's on me to remember that.
All right, get ready for this move.
Hold up. I'm sorry.
Go for it.
I turned cast. I have a minor action left, so I'm going to move closer to the door. I just didn't say that. Sorry.
She casts non-verbally, by the way.
Okay.
She gets both. So you see her change her aim from you to Connor, casts or spins her wand twice counterclockwise, which you're like, I've seen Flitwick do that. And suddenly, Connor flies through the air at you. She just casts Locomotor on his own body to ram you into the fire.
Thank God I have Salvo Hexia on. I don't want to like tear Connor to pieces though. That'd be a little gory.
And you crit someone.
I did. That got really messy.
The great thing about Salvo Hexia for you is that it's almost invisible.
Yeah.
So, he will...
Poor Connor.
Yeah, Connor will go headfirst into your spell. You will be kind of buffeted back by the impact. You're just like, Jesus! You will receive no damage, but we'll have to have a constitution check to see if you do step into kind of the fire range.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This is a dex check?
Roll Constitution.
Oh, Constitution.
You're fine.
17.
You're totally fine.
Wow.
Connor will risk head trauma.
I feel bad for this guy. Was that a 1?
Connor's knocked out. Yeah.
Sorry, bud.
So he just collapses and crumples to the ground, and you, for a hot second, you're like, is he dead? His neck doesn't look broken, but you heard something not
Like it
move
crumpled. Yeah.
And you do what?
How close am I to the door? Pretty close? Because I almost...
like you turn around and take a step and you're
I'm going
door.
to use all of my action to see if I can... If the door is kickable to open.
You can try.
Or if it like opens inward, which would suck.
You cannot tell that just by looking at it.
I attempt the old kickaroo to see if it opens outward. A 4. I don't even know what type of check that was, but I rolled a 4.
No strength.
Okay.
No.
It opens inward, or do I not know?
Nothing happens and you're not sure why.
I cast Alohomora.
I'm going to say, Jeff, that was your major action.
Yeah.
The kick.
Damn. Yeah. I was hoping it would be a minor. Alright. Salvo Hexia is Dunzo's, because Connor smashed his head into it.
Good thing you learned that spell, huh?
Good thing I didn't get Kave in cave. I'm going to use my minor action to recast Salvo Hexia non-verbally. 16 plus 5 is 21, and the 13 is almost a crit.
Works.
Super. Oh, I restore 2, so it just negates the spell cost. So, boop. Alright. Or the increased spell cost. After kicking it, I don't know what to do with the door. I want to cast Alohomora, but I need to wait till the next turn, and I want to save Connor now. He's just dead weight. And I have to save him in the middle of a freaking duel. Great. You listen here.
Babilius.
Sure, Elvia.
She casts a wild arc of lightning from her wand down at you.
What a jerk.
And it just like rakes across the stone and just barely misses your feet as you're like,
Is Connor just totally frying right now?
He is hit by it, but not horribly. But yeah, it like down his arm. And she kind of like exasperates, like, oh my god. And then you see her about to cast something else, but it is your turn first. Like she's moving straight from one action to another very fast.
God damn it, I need Expelling Armor so bad. Alright. Alohomora. So annoying. Nat 20. Crit. I just crit Dex and Willpower.
Cool. You hear something move in the door.
Since it was a crit, do I know which way it opens?
Nope.
Such a jerk. Oh man, I might risk it for the biscuit here. But I don't like the fact she's casting lightning and yucky spells at me. Although I am at full health right now. The lightning was not a jinx or hex, correct? It was a curse?
The lightning was a hex, but it didn't hit you.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Great. So, that was my major action. Cast Alohomora. I don't want to waste a minor action. Ooh. Minor action. Is that the best the head girl can do?
She will take the bait.
Is it the best you can do?
She will take the bait, and instantly, like, you can see her change her plan, but she's like so flustered by like that. What did you just say? That she like is in between two spell ideas, and so does nothing. And she's like, ugh! And then has to, like, recalibrate before acting again. In other words, you successfully just wasted her turn.
Great. I'm risking it for the biscuit using full action. This is in the rules. Combining major and minor actions for increased movement with dex bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Sprinting after picking up Connor, who I hope is a skinny young lad. I am going to attempt to drag him and charge through the door.
Oh my god. That's still on fire.
Yep. I don't want to fight this blood magic destruction chick.
Oh my god.
And Connor might just die. Going through a door that's on fire, it might hurt a little bit at first, or we might slam into an inward opening door, in which case I will just go, crap, and then actually fight her.
That roll just decided whether it was going to be a swing out or swing in. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, give me your roll to see if you can do all that.
I don't even know what I'm rolling for. I roll a 4 first. And then another 4.
Okay. What's your dex bonus?
5.
Okay. Give me a strength check, please.
Nat 20.
Oh my god.
With the power of Godric Gryffindor.
What I will say is that the Gryffindor heart in your chest truly shines as what really matters most to you is getting him out.
Yep.
You don't care that he's a Slytherin. You don't care that he's a 7th year. You don't
Yep.
care that he tried to hurt you. You don't
Yep.
care that he's about anything. You just know he is a victim in all this.
Mm-hmm.
And if you needed any more evidence of that, the fact that Elvia literally threw his lifeless body at you just proves everything, that Connor is a tool to her.
Mm-hmm.
So you grab him by the injured arm and the crumpled arm and yank, easily dragging him. You back kick the door, swinging it open, and pull him out forward, and you just barely hear her scream incendio before the door closes on its own, and the door you see is perfect and clean, unburnt, just like Khaleesi. And you drop, I almost said Hatham, you drop Connor on the ground, and you look around, and you're on the first floor.
The first floor of the...
Of Hogwarts.
Hogwarts, okay.
And
I was like, oh, you gotta clarify
and
that.
there are students everywhere around you.
I call for aid immediately.
What do you call for? Who do you call for?
I call for Dumbledore, McGonagall. I'm like name dropping, and I'm saying anyone.
A group of 4th year girls, Hufflepuffs, will look at you, and you will even like go look at them and say, "Go get faculty right now. Whoever's closest, go get them." And they're just like, "Oh yeah, okay." And they because you pointed deliberately at them.
Yeah.
They're just like, "Yes, my responsibility."
Yeah.
You are not hopeful that they're going to find anybody because they went directly like towards an outside route. You're just like, fuck. And you and so you continue calling and calling and calling. Several students even come up to Connor and say, "What the hell happened? Oh my god, what are you guys doing?"
Is Connor like still completely out of
still
it?
completely out.
Oh, yeah.
And he's also face down, so you're not even able to see like his expression, if he's bleeding, nothing. Eventually, there is a faculty member that comes up, and I will say that it's Flitwick. Flitwick comes up with his like short stature, and he's waddling towards you, and he says, "Potter, what's going on here?"
Injury.
Oh! Locomotor mortis! And he lifts Connor up off the ground and he says, "You come with me." And you guys walk. And as he's walking, he's also like doing these wide clockwise motions, and you were seeing him conjuring bandages. And he's actually like putting bandages around like his injured arm and around apparently a head wound that he sustained. Apparently his neck looks pretty awful too, and he's
before I literally leave that room, I cast Revelio on the spot that I came out.
It's gone.
Okay.
So I will say even instinctively, you're just like, Revelio! And it will like, over onto the wall, and it will just hit and like resound with a dull crescendo. That's a nothing word for you. And kind of sound. And
it would be like a muffled sforzando.
Okay. Honey, musical terms. Honey, help. And so, I don't know music theory. And so, it will just kind of thrum in the hallway, and people will kind of look at you like, what are you doing? And you're like, thanks, Merlin. You just keep walking. People are trying to give you a wide berth, but they're naturally curious. Like, the head boy, is he dead? What's going on? How did that happen? You find yourself again in the damn hospital wing.
It's a popular place.
I'm going to fast forward a bit.
Okay.
That very quickly the faculty take over. Flitwick not teleports, levitates him all the way to a hospital bed. The head nurse, Poppy, I can't remember her name. Poppy something. That's her first name, but I don't remember her name. Pomfrey. Poppy Pomfrey. That's her name.
Pomfrey.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Poppy Pomfrey comes over, and she immediately...
Madame Pomfrey, yeah.
Yeah, immediately goes to work. Charlie Weasley's, like, right across, and he's just like, what are you doing to people, man? You look like you're about to keel over. Sit down.
Yeah, I'm like really flustered.
And you find yourself just sitting on the hospital bed next to him, until eventually, as people start to realize, like, Madame Pomfrey's got this, Flitwick will turn towards you, look at you, and like sort of startled, and he's like, "What happened to you?"
I tell him everything in very fast succession because my mind is racing.
You will notice dimly that as you're describing this, not even really caring who's listening, Charlie will be kind of sitting forward as he's watching and listening to your tale.
Mm.
Flitwick, you also realize, is the head of Ravenclaw House.
Mm-hmm.
Elvia is a Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
And so he'll listen and blink several times, and he says, this must be... he's not really sure if he should believe you, or if he needs proof, or what. And so before really accusing Elvia of anything, he's more so saying, where is the entrance to this place?
I will tell him of the door near the potions room.
He will non-verbally cast Expecto Patronum to send a message, and you're just like, who'd you send that to? And he's like, Professor Snape, so he can find the door too. You should lay down.
I do so.
You look very pale. And Pomfrey's like, I'll be with you in a minute. And you're like, cool. And you borderline, like, pass out.
Mm-hmm.
Because of all of the panic over, like, I'm in a fight for my life, oh my god, save the Slytherin, why am I saving the Slytherin? Go get help, people, oh thank god, I'm back in the hospital wing. Yeah. And then climbing 5 sets of stairs.
Don't forget the fight with a spider.
Yes.
And trying to sneak past the troll.
And sneak past the troll. You are very much
very on
aware.
Edge. Most eventful free period ever.
Yeah, and like dimly you're aware before passing out that the time is like 12:30. You're like,
oh,
I missed Charms.
No.
And Flitwick's like, yeah, what the fuck, bro? You ascend to level 7.
Oh, yay!
Yay!
I was literally just about to ask about experience at the end of the session.
Yes.
I imagine I'm full now in terms of HP and MP since I'm getting a rest in.
Yes.
Level 7. Haha. Great. What would I like to increase? getting Protego.
Hmm.
If you didn't see that one coming.
Mm-hmm. Elvia rolled like crap that entire fight.
Yeah, I noticed.
That first Stupefy, I wanted her to cast Protection, and she rolled a 1. I'm like, well,
so much for that. Alright, it's an instant ability, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's right here.
The caster can conjure a magical shield in front of them that blocks both physical and magical attacks. Shield deactivates within 2 seconds of successful casting.
It's a little bit vague. Because I don't know exactly what it's going to block.
It will block almost anything offensive.
Oh, okay, cool. That's great, because if Salvo Hexia dissipates, I can cast Protego as a final resort if I need to do other things on my turn. That is so useful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I need to go see my wife.
Protego.
Alright, listen up. Here's a story.
Listen up. Alright.
Here's a story.
Okay, so I want to do 2 into magic. So I have 5 into all my important stats. Because I'm cool like that.
Mm-hmm.
What's min-maxing, bro? And since that does not increase my HP or MP, I can just simply say I'm going to do +2/+3 for a total of 34 over 60. Yes, I do like that quite a bit. And I think now that I've hit 60, I'm probably going to start focusing more on HP for my vital points. Probably going to ignore Constitution, and I'm going to keep probably buffing willpower and dexterity almost exclusively. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Depending on how long this game lasts. But I have my eyes on dexterity and willpower for my sneakiness and successful casts, primarily. So, yeah. Yeah. Also, another 5% crit chance would be ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So I might just do both my points, probably 1 dex, 1 willpower next level. Yeah. I'm done.
Cool.
I'm done with my level up.
Awesome.
Am I asleep?
You awaken,
Okay.
and it's the next day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was at least a 12-hour nap.
Yeah. You awaken, and you find that your hand is thoroughly bandaged.
Mm-hmm.
And Madame Pomfrey is actually, like, dabbing it slightly with, like, a dropper. A little weird, and you're just like, get off me. You're, like, groggily, you're just like, have at you. And she grabs
Just a flesh wound.
She grabs your wrist back, and she's like, stop it. And she, like, continues her work. You're like, fine. You're, like, very groggy. Poppy is right next to you, and she's like, slept long enough?
I think so.
Good.
Something wrong?
Did you call out for me after you dropped me off in potions?
Sure did.
We couldn't find you. And now I'm hearing that you Did you find it?
Sure did.
So...
Actually, rather it found me. I got sucked in. That's why it couldn't find me.
What?
Yeah, well, you know, there was like a suspicious Slytherin, some no-name, with a book that I recognized.
Some no-name! Some NPC the DM made.
Yeah. I mean, I would literally call him a no-name if I didn't recognize him.
Yeah.
Literally just a no-name with a thick leather book. It said Merlin. I recognized it, and he told me that the doorway led somewhere that I knew was horse crap. So I opened it, and it sucked me in. We had like a weird little battle. He cast Pendo on me stupidly twice. He sucks at casting. And I called out to you guys for help, and I cast my new spell, and I think it successfully... Anyway.
Okay. They're saying that Elvia is behind Haytham's suicide.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. She's unforgivable.
Oh my god, Harry. Why do you make light of every severe situation? I don't know how you do that. Okay, I don't know what happens now, because God, the head girl is...
Oh no, trust me. I was just as surprised as you, especially when she decided to fling the head boy directly at me.
Yeah, Connor's not here. He was sent to St. Mungo's Hospital because the injury to his neck was so severe.
I was afraid of that.
He's alive, as far as I know, but...
I had to pull him through flaming doors to save him. She was planning on using his blood to awaken the golem.
What was the golem? What was it?
A giant mechanical-looking thing. Said it was going to fight off the dark wizards and whatnot, and then...
But Elvia's acting like a dark wizard.
I know, I tried to explain it to her. I thought she was under the Imperious Curse for a moment myself when I first talked to her, because she just wasn't herself. But then I made some mention about how her merfolk tongue was coming along, and she acknowledged my comment and how it didn't apply to the situation, so her head was on her shoulders.
Okay.
She was moving her tongue all weird last time I ran into her at the Great Library, so I knew she was studying her merfolk. Anyway, totally off topic there.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, listen. They're shutting down the term early because they're looking.
I'm sure.
They're looking for Elvia. Dumbledore's talked to the Ministry. They're sending Aurors to try to find her.
I told Flitwick where the door was. What happened?
There's nothing there.
Oh, of course not.
But if the wing is real, which according to what you're saying, it is very much real,
Yeah.
it will continue to exist as long as there is someone inside of it, which means it just comes down to finding the next entrance that it generates, I guess.
Well, Elvia probably stayed inside.
Yeah. If she's so convinced about this... I don't know. If she's so convinced about this golem, then... yeah, she'd want to stay close to it, but how is she going to get anybody to come in so that she can use their... Is she a pureblood?
Elvia? She certainly acts like one. And also, I mean, it's kind of proof that if she's like missing classes and missing right now, that what I'm saying holds at least a little bit of merit.
What if she sacrifices herself?
Totally possible. I don't think she would do that, though. I told her about the whole, like, her father dying and stuff. Like she feels, what's the right word I'm looking for? She feels like this empowerment that she, like this, that she has to come to action to avenge her father and you know, fight off all the dark wizards using a giant mechanical blood golem.
Is it weird that I kind of feel for her?
Oh, no, not at all. I feel for her greatly. In fact, when I first started talking to her after she told me that, I openly apologized and kind of felt bad. You know, like I said, I'm sorry that your father died. I'm sorry that everyone else's, family members died during the Great War. There was nothing that we could do about it, and that's not the right way to go about it.
No, I agree. It would be nice if there was something that we could use to like protect ourselves against this fear of another uprising with dark magic, but she's literally causing people to kill themselves. She's literally using other people's wills for herself.
Mm-hmm.
People that ultimately are probably innocent of any sort of wrongdoing that she's accusing them of. I don't know what happens now. I guess we go home, because they're not going to want to keep even prefects here. And you are definitely out of this, because you're a student who really shouldn't even have been involved with going into the Wing of Merlin.
Yeah, well, it just kind of happened.
Yeah. And it's not happening again.
I opened the door to see if the Slytherin... what was his name?
I don't know.
Well,
No name.
Yeah. The Slytherin no name, I opened the door to see if he was telling me the truth or not, and then I just got sucked in.
Yeah, I have no idea who you're referring to, because I didn't see anybody in the hallway when I came running.
That's interesting. He was right there. I like describe him, and I say like where his proximity was to the door. Yeah, we got into like this minor little duel. That's when I called out to you guys, and I opened the door. I got sucked in, and then you're saying he wasn't there?
Yeah.
I wonder if he got sucked in too, and I just didn't notice.
But wouldn't he have been like right behind you?
Well, not necessarily. That place was right weird.
It was beyond terrifying to hear you call out for me, and then you were nowhere. And the next thing I know, you show up hours later, covered in burn marks, bleeding from your hand, with pincer marks in your foot, and bleeding from your stomach. Do you want to come over to my place for Christmas?
What do I normally do for Christmas? Do I normally go to my place for Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah, if your family will have me.
I've told them all about you.
I would love to meet them.
They're Mongols.
Hmm?
They're Mongols.
Great.
Okay.
I'm studying them. So, I mean, it's not going to be so awkward.
Okay, but promise me you're not going to walk around with like a clipboard studying every one of their habits, because they'll find that weird. Though they might do the same with you.
I mean, no promises.
She will very much lighten as like the jokingness re-enters your conversation, and she'll even like sit on the side of the bed as you guys continue to banter, and she will run her fingers through your hair, like fixing it. Do you want to say anything else, or do you want time to pass forward?
I don't know what you mean by how much time to pass forward, because I feel like there's a lot to be going on right now. Like, I want to talk to Dumbledore, but he's probably busy. I want to talk to Auntie. She's probably busy. Want to let her know that I won't be going home for Christmas. I'll be going to spend it with the Muggles. She'd probably laugh. There are other things that I want to do. But passage of time, I don't know what you mean by that. How much time?
A few days.
Okay, passage of time, but just have it known that I catch up with Auntie, let her know my plans, and I inform her of literally everything because I want her to hear it from me.
You, on first... I'll actually say that she will come visit you later that same day.
Okay.
And you will relay everything that you experienced.
Great.
And she will be appreciative of hearing it firsthand from you in a more sound way than you have told Flitwick. Therefore, she's able to readily tell the staff what has gone on.
Mm-hmm.
She says that she cannot, even though students are going to be going home within the next day or two, and the searches will really start to get down underway for Elvia, she cannot go home in good conscience because she is part of the faculty. She will be looking for Elvia too. And so you may not see her for a bit. Possibly until next term.
Understandable.
Okay. Then I would proceed a few days.
That's fine.
Okay.
You want to.
You are up in Gryffindor Tower. You are packed you are packed to the point where you're willing to go home because you're going to leave the bulk of your stuff here. You will descend the boys' dormitory and meet Poppy in the common room. And she looks all cute in like a red poofy dress and with like a coat and a scarf and like
Stop it. They're 16, Tommy.
She has fishnet stockings and she
She's sucking on a lollipop like
ruby
really
red lipstick, just pigtails.
Yeah.
I
needed that.
You guys will proceed downward into the grounds to be one of the last loads of students to make it to the Hogwarts Express to go home. Your parents are expecting you on the other side. And your parents are ultimately there to see you before you then go off to
Muggleland.
To Muggleland. They really just want to see you to actually like hold you in their hands to see like you're actually alive. Thank God. On your way out of the castle, you will hear a scream. Almost immediately, once you're entering the castle, there is a hallway to the left, a corridor to the left that you know the first classroom that's down that hallway is the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom.
And this happened on the way out of the...
Yes.
Okay, so I haven't hit the train yet or
Correct.
anything.
You have not left.
So you were
the
saying
castle yet.
hypothetically, my parents were there to meet me and hold on to me.
Yes.
So okay, I thought that had happened.
No.
I was so confused. I was like, why am I back at the castle? All right. So on the way to go to the platform to meet the train, I hear a scream from Defense Against Dark Arts class, and we're among the last groups of students to leave, so not a whole lot of people around. And I hear the scream. It's a female scream. Is it coming?
Male scream.
Oh, I thought you said female.
No.
Okay. Male scream. Male scream's almost like maelstrom. Male scream.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Don't take it from me.
Is there a maelstrom spell in this game?
No.
Alright.
Actually, yes. Expulso.
Great.
I cast Maelstrom.
I rename it. I cast it non-verbally, but I say maelstrom as I cast it. Just to spite you. Is it coming from within the classroom?
What?
Is the scream coming from within the classroom?
It's not within sight, but you know that it's coming from that direction.
I ignore it and go have a very happy Christmas with Poppy's family.
Awesome. End of session. I will see you next week.
Oh, God, no. Doesn't happen. But, damn it. I want to go to Muggle Land, Tommy.
The whole castle warps and you're back in the Wing of Merle and you're like, I never left. It was all a test. It's like the Stephen King short story.
I'm like still drinking
The
the
1408 or
potion.
whatever it's called.
Yeah. Alright, well, Poppy's with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, Poppy.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that?
Are you kidding me? I'm already halfway down the hallway. You've been sitting there ruminating the whole time.
I follow.
She's like, look out, I farted. Get it? Same joke as last time.
What do we hear and see?
You hear 2 or 3 more screams of the same caliber of scream before suddenly the door is there in front of you. The door is ajar, but I thought it was a door. And suddenly, when you see the door, the screaming stops. You see Poppy run to the door, yank it open, and like do kind of an A motion with her wands, and there's like a shimmery veil in front of her before it dissipates, kind of anticipating an incoming spell, but there's nothing that attacks her. And then she casts Lumos, and she goes into the classroom.
It's dark. It's dark in the classroom. Okay. I follow right behind her.
It's a dark room.
And so the screaming just stopped as soon as we got to the door.
Mm-hmm.
Was it like on cue, basically? That's so weird. How much of the room is lit with her Lumos?
Not all of it, but a good portion. Your Lumos would contribute quite a bit.
Alright. I cast Lumos first, and then I immediately cast Revelio.
Nothing is revealed by Revelio. You can
Do I
proceed.
recognize her spell?
Recognize.
Poppy's spell.
Oh, the veil thing that she summoned. She did Protego really quick
Okay.
to see if she could block any incoming thing at her, but nothing happened.
Okay.
As she proceeds further into the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom, you will notice that several of the tables are upturned, that some ink wells are tipped over, and destruction seems to kind of, not destruction, but like upheaval seems to be guiding you into the back where Treebottom's office would be. And that door is open.
I tell Poppy to send a message.
She looks back and says, oh, right. Okay, and she'll like look at the office door, and she's like, okay, I gotta...
Just to make sure it goes through, I cast Salvo Hexia on her.
Oh, thank you.
Nat 20.
That's fine. Alright.
10 plus 5.
She's like, thank you. She will do her concentration gesture, and she'll look dead into your eyes and cast Expecto Patronum, and you will see it dash out and away, and she's like, that goes directly to your aunt.
What was that? What was the animal? I forgot what it
It
was.
is not corporeal, so you cannot tell. She will proceed onward, and she's like, I really gotta learn how to, like, hold off and actually think before I act, don't I? Good idea.
I have the same issues.
She will proceed onward and then nudge the door even more open. And she's like, Professor, and her wand will go up to illuminate as much as she can. And you're watching her do this. And then as soon as you think that she's gonna like see someone and like remark like what's going on or something, she doesn't, and she'll then instead adopt a look of like, wait, what? There's a trap door. Come here.
I'm already there.
You look down and you see a trap door at this very moment disappearing. Like vanishing into like blood into water.
Does Revelio stop things from fucking...
Finite.
I asked Poppy to cast Finite Incantatum.
I'm not good at it. I'll try. She cannot cast Finite. It will vanish within 2 seconds, really, and then it will just be regular stone floor. All around on his rug, on his desk, you will see fresh blood marks. McGonagall will enter the study, or the office, and she'll go, "What happened here?"
The trapdoor just vanished. And there's fresh blood.
She will come around the opposite side of the office and look and see everything that you're saying. Look where the trapdoor theoretically was. The rug is actually helpfully like moved aside, so you're just like, it was right there, and she's like, okay. And she'll see the fresh blood marks, and she'll look down, and she says, it could be, and it's fresh red, which means it could be dragon, it could be human, I guess. Have you seen Professor Treebottom anywhere?
No. We just heard screams. On our way to the station, we heard screams coming from near the classroom, and so Poppy and I bolted. And this is the scene that we came in on.
Elvia may have found her pure blood.
Yeah.
I'm going to end session here, though.
No.
Because there's a bit too much to really stop beforehand after this point.
Okay. Hooray.
Evanesco.
Evanesco. Evanesco.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye-bye!
Wait. Colloportus.
You lock the door?
No, I locked the session.
Okay. Cool, yeah.
Woo!
Hello, Mora.
Protego.
Ah!
Protego. Potato. Protego. Potato. Let's see. We just reached smidge over 3 hours long. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye!